Hello guys, welcome back to the video. Today we're going to take a look at a thing that got suggested for me. I thought it wasn't such a big topic, it's kinda easy, but hey, let's try to make it interesting. So yeah, I wanted to do more of these in-depth guides in small things. So let's do another one of those episodes. Okay, the question was what different troops for different nations, like specific. So for Germany, like you have a big industry, you may want to build more expensive stuff, that kind of stuff. So first let's go for Germany, and I'll just tag through the different countries and see what troop layouts I use for the different. It's most same, but some small tech things. So yes, Germany, you usually want to go with a standard Space Marine build, but here you can do either be a standard medium 6 infantry, 2 artillery, 1 medium tank, or you can do 6 infantry, 2 arty, and 1 heavy tank, or in the late game one of these tank destroyers. The heavy one, you have to wait until 1940. You get the 50% bonus from the this guy here, so then you can do it. Yeah, you can do it for that. I think that's what you do. No, wait, what? Where is it you get that bonus when what that I was talking about? Oh well, either way, you always get a bonus, and you will have a 50% bonus for this guy. So you can just, weird. Oh well. So you can just get that 90-40 around early if you have good engineering. I mean research speed reductions. Okay, my bad. Okay, and that will make it so like you can easily punch through the Majet line and extend it and stuff like that. So that's always super useful. Maybe not Maginet, but if it's a multiplayer game, you really want that heavy because it gets 50% bonus for your whole unit. I think that's how it works, at least against forts. So that really makes it easier. The medium is fine though. Mostly you do it for the armor. Some hard attack is always nice, but it only gets you 10%, I would say, amount of your damage done. Most of it is soft attack. That's why I have Arty in there to boost that up. Though we nerfed Arty in the latest patch, but that's they should have done that a while ago. Art is so good. Okay, so either, and for support stuff, we can take a look at that. Usually you just want a standard recon, so RT engineer, and then you can throw on either field hospital if you feel like getting the trickle back, the HP HP, and get the trickle back. That's good. So you can use, and that means like you don't lose as much men basically. So you can use the field hospital, or if you rather want, you can always try out the signal. That depends though. You can use the logistics. Some people say that's really good because that makes it much easier to use the medium tanks and the heavy tanks. But the thing is, I don't think they are that good until around this spot here, and that's kind of late. So, but instead you can use the signal company, and I actually think that one is really good because it gives initiative, and it also gives some recovery rate and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know, organization. Oh well, either way, the initiative is really good, so it basically means your unit gets new troops into the front lines faster. That's what I learned. I can actually check if that's how it works for sure. Fire initiative, you have a quick yeah, we can reinforce into metal. Cool, and also a quick dance planning. Okay, that's cool. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. If you take France, when you're going against Soviet, maybe you really want to switch out the signal for the logistics, just because the roads will be a bit worse. But actually, since the latest update, Soviet kind of actually focuses on infrastructure a lot more here in the western parts, so that will actually not be as big of a problem. So maybe you won't stick to the signal. You decide. But yeah, that's what I would recommend as an infantry build. We could go through the other ones, but that's basically saying either you have 6 of these and 2 of these, maybe switch some of these out for medium, but that will lower the speed, or you remove 2 of these and remove 3 of these. The only difference is the one has 10 and one has 20. The one with 20 is a lot better, but it costs so much more. So maybe you want the 10. I would say the 20 is better if you can afford it. If you can't afford it, yeah, go for a 10. So that's like for minor nations though, and people that don't actually want to build a big tank division. So that's cool. And also same thing for the motorized division. Either you have like this, or you just remove, so it goes down to 5. And then I usually have them in one big row like this, and these should be gone then. Cool. And things here is like for motorized you want this field hospital, that's always nice, and a signal company. And tanks, you can use maintenance, you can use a lot of stuff for tank. Most stuff are good. You really want an engineer or recon, sometimes maintenance, sometimes logistics, but that's both. So I would say I'd seen single company, but just think that's kind of weird using that. It's in a tank, but yeah, you can do that if you want to. If you want to stack it with a 5 stack, it's kind of expensive though, but yeah, you can do that, sure. So that's basically what I would say as Germany. And for specialized troops, it's like, well, I'm not actually that good with specialized troops, if I have to be honest. So like, you have marines, you have mountaineers, and you have paratroopers. I usually just do a 20 combat width with only that, and just stack it with tons of support stuff that I feel like are good. But I'm not sure how to use these properly, so I rarely use them. Sometimes you can use paratroopers in sneaky ways, sometimes mountaineers can be good defenders, and marines are good for naval invasions, but they have so big niches, and they are, when they're not in that niche, they're just worse than the other. Not the marine technically, because it's really good in rivers and marsh, and they are really frequent actually, so they are kinda cool. But yeah, basically, so let's tag over to another nation, like so. Let's go for Soviet next. Come on. Okay, now we're playing as Soviet Union. Okay, well, what's different with Soviet Union then? So, as Germany, you have a really big industry, and you can actually buy those expensive tanks. What I feel as Soviet, yeah, you have a big industry, but you have a super big army in the beginning, and you need to feed it. Because let's see, you're behind nothing. Almost nothing. That's cool. I thought you were behind like 20k. Oh, that's after I switched them out for good units maybe. Oh, well, either way, you're behind, and you need to feed this big unit of infantry, and you can't really have a lot of other things to focus on. So like, you will need to fill out this line in the beginning of the game and add another one, a third one, a fourth one quite soon. Well, not actually that soon, but I mean, you will build on those. Not as Germany, then you can actually live with 1 or 2, maybe 1.5 even. I've done that in multiplayer. But the Soviet, you really need a big, most of them, because you're like the whole team of you Comintern. So you will need to feed a super big army with infantry equipment and support and RT, so you can't actually focus on other stuff really. So what you do instead is you use a cheaper build actually. You just switch these out to here for RT. That's it. I've seen other stuff, but this is the best way of doing it, because you will need to feed so much troops. As I said, you just need to have a standard division that you can multiply into your every single division. Every single division will look like this, except a couple tanks and motorized, but you can actually switch those out for infantry as well. This will be your standard division, and what you will do is you will have multiple copies of this one, depending on the support layout instead. So you will have one that has anti-tank, and you don't want everyone to have anti-tank, because that will be too expensive. So what you do is you have around a third of them can use anti-tank, and rest of them can either, let's see, what could you do for rest of them? Yeah, that's usually what I do anyway. And because you have so much men, you don't actually need this one. You can use it if you want to for the HP, but usually the field hospital isn't necessary. To use engineer, recon, artillery on every single one, and on a third you use anti-tank. On maybe you can actually use anti-air on some, but that's not that many, and the rest of them you use like logistics and the signal companies. Maybe even cut to those because you want it cheap for the support. You'll need a lot of support as well, so yeah, that's basically it. And you also put your anti-tank here on the western front. On the Japanese front, you won't need it, and if you need it, well, you can just put somewhere later. So I mean, it's not that big a deal. You can just switch out on templates if you see they're using a lot of tanks and breakthrough stuff. So yeah, that's cool. So it isn't that difficult. They're kind of fun because you have so much of the same. Let's go to France instead. France has another problem. They have basically no military factories, so you can't actually produce anything. And what you do instead is, so you can't do the tank, and you can't really do Varti. So what you do is you just have you will add the RT in here, but that's later. So for the beginning, you can just use this. I think that's kind of dumb. So what you instead do is you add this, but you just don't care about that it doesn't get filled up, and you will lose, and you won't have enough of it. You just have to accept that, and you will get the lend-lease later from UK to fix it. I think that's the best way of doing it, and you will just have loads of those guys, maybe some mountaineers here in the south, but yeah, that's most of it. And also because what you will need to focus instead on is anti-tank. You'll need to focus heavily on anti-tank and research. Very good, usually here, 1939, before the war, you will need this one, because you will need it to start building up if you want to hold. Because the thing they can break through your fort with are tanks, so you'll need to counter that, and that's the way you do it. And yeah, and also I've seen actually some people, instead of using arty here, they've used one arty and one 9 tank. I think that's weird, because you can just use it here in the support slot, and I just think that's stronger. Maybe it's not, you can just disagree. Yeah, another thing I forgot to mention earlier was, if you have any other suggestions that I didn't put here, or things I said something wrong, you can just leave them in comments and I can ping it if it's good or something like that, if it addresses something I missed. And if this video turns out to be 100% wrong, I can just redo it, okay? But so far I think I've been saying the right stuff. Okay, so UK are very similar to Germany, I would say, but you always use a medium there. That's the thing. US, exactly the same. You use a medium and you just mass produce them. Okay, so they are like, okay, cool. Japan, you have so much men, you will just, well, you'll just do the medium tank strat. It's some difference in support, but I can't bother go through everything. Let's go to some minor nation, like tag Swede, because I know the tag for them. Okay, here you're minor nation, you won't actually have that much of factories, you can't produce tanks, you can't produce that much of anything really, so you'll need to be cutting a hell of a lot. So what you do is you just have the standard one that I've showed earlier. Either you can do something else out, of course, but basically you have something like this and this, and you want to, because you can't afford anything else, and you can't cut any of those stuff. So they actually added this guy. This guy hasn't been here before in the game. Weird. Okay, so you just try to hold it as much of a minimum as possible if you're a minor nation, and over time when you build up, you can start adding stuff and switching stuff up. And one thing I've actually been doing more and more with miners is, if I have like this and I'm low on infantry equipment, I will cut one of these. Will go down to 18, but it will cost you a bit less, and then you can add it back later when you want to combat with. But it's just for the extra cheap. And also, if you instead is lacking artillery, and that's the thing you most often will lack, you can just switch it out for that. It will be a bit worse, yes, but for the price, I mean, if you can't afford it. And worse is if you have to cut that, but yeah, that is worse than that's cutting here, I would say, but still, yeah, just so that's usually what I would do. And other stuff that I haven't mentioned, I can't think of anything I haven't mentioned yet. Okay, cool. So I think that's the standard base build. And also land doctrines. No, we've gone through that in another video. Basically, if you're using heavy tank build, you want to go left side. Here, this gun is fine right now. It's just, I'm not sure. They've nerfed artillery so much, but people use artillery as much as before, but the thing has been nerfed, so it's not as useful, this guy. I've actually seen people using Grand Battle Plan now in multiplayer. Not anywhere near as much as Mass Assault or stuff, but some actually. But that's basically France alone. No other than France. So it's France alone. But that's some. And actually that's China. I've seen a China player do it. And I'm like, well, that's actually kind of genius that he does it. But the thing is, it still doesn't work, because there are so many other problems that they have that you really need to do Mass Assault either way. But yeah, it's cool. It's a cool tech choice for some people. But yeah, you should not rock Grand Battle Plan unless you really know what you're doing. Like, if I see a German player go Grand Battle Plan, I would probably assume he's a genius because he come up with something. But yeah, stuff like that. But probably they're just dumb. But yeah. And well, I'll end this episode here. If you enjoyed it, leave a like down below. Tell me in the comments if I missed anything and what you want to see next. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.